What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 3. You're not going to see my face this time. You just get a sweet knee shot. So we're going to go over how to actually put wraps on. And I'm going to use the Sidewinder wrap for a couple reasons. A, I don't feel like cutting the circulation off to my feet right now. And B, I find it to be one that's really accessible to beginners if they want to kind of get started in the whole wrapping realm. So first things first, the tool that you need to do this and save yourself a lot of time and effort is an extended pair of needle nose pliers. These things are a godsend. They are the greatest thing that you can buy if you're going to get into this whole thing. 15, 20 bucks at Tractor Supply or a hardware store will save you your fingers, your hands, your training partner's fingers and hands. These things are the bomb. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you want to do when you look to get started wrapping is this actual leg position. A lot of people just kind of let themselves kind of stay lazy here. And the entire point, like I mentioned in the first episode, was to get as much material behind the knee as possible. We want to try to get as much back here and under the knee as we can. If we don't get tissue out of the way and we let ourselves kind of sit here, then the muscle belly of the calf is going to get in the way, the hamstring is going to get in the way, and this portion of your quad is going to get in the way. Now, I'm kind of fortunate. Most of my quad weight is up here. I don't have that big kind of teardrop that gets in the way, but you still want to make sure you pull your toe back nice and tight so that we extend this calf and create space here, and we extend and flex at the knee as much as possible, or flex the quad as much as possible to pull that quad up, okay? Now from here, most people like to go inside out. I do as well. I find it a lot to be a comfort thing. I've heard people make the claim that if you pull inside, that'll actually increase your risk for injury. I have not seen any evidence to that up to this point. I think it's all anecdotal, and obviously we don't have a whole lot of data on that either. But my big thing with this is, for comfort reasons, when I'm wrapping, I like to go inside out. Now, a lot of other things you'll see people wrap this way, where the actual, for lack of a better term, the roll is down. Because of my background in athletic training and kind of the medical field, I get a better handle on it with the roll up. So it's here. I feel like I can get more tension and I don't lose control of the roll as much. So I'm going to gear this kind of towards beginners if it's your first couple times wrapping. And one of the reasons is because I don't feel as though cranking down super hard your first couple times wrapping is really beneficial for you, because you want to get a better feel of how this is going to go. So the first thing I tell people, find that point, right? You want to kind of split. It's called your tibial tuberosity. It's right here. It's where that patellar tendon inserts into the tibia here. So it's that notch. You'll see a lot of people with like jumper's knee or something like that. That's where it gets bigger. That's what I try to split that with the wrap in the very beginning. So I come across, I find that spot, I split it, I pin it with a finger. This is if you're gonna self wrap, and I get a relatively light first wrap around and then lock it in. This is when I make sure my calf is up nice and tight. I'm pulling my toe back and I've got my quad nice and flexed. Now from here, what I'm gonna try to do is every time I come around, when I come around the back of the knee, that's when I want to pull tight. Now, I'm not going to pull super tight. I can get a ton out of this, but I'm probably going to put about 50% on the first couple times I try to wrap myself. I'm going to bring it around. I lay it across the top of the knee. So I'm not cranking at this point here. I lay it across the top of the knee. I come back around. I get tension again, and I lay it across the top of the knee. At this point, I'm approaching the quad. I want to get one more round, keeping that quad nice and tight, get about 50% tension again, and then I'm going to take it down and across here. So I go and I lock all of this in. If you feel like you want a little bit more security, you can go up a little bit more on the quad, but I don't suggest getting all the way up here on it. We want to get as much material behind the knee as possible to make this effective. So you're going to come down and lock that in. You're going to come underneath the knee again, come up 50%, come across. Think about making an X. We're still laying across the knee here. I'm not creating a lot of tension, but we want to create an X across that spot. Then I come underneath one more time. From here, now I like to come back around one more time across the knee. Some people like to come across the top. Your first couple times it's probably best to come across the top. But this is when I lay that needle nose plier set down on the inside of my thigh. I don't want it to come down here. I don't want my basically release or tie off to be back behind my knee. I'd like it to be here. If you want to be tricky, you can come across the top and it'll make it look like the top of your knees a little bit higher if you're worried about depth. Shh, I didn't say that out loud. So from here, then you can lock it around. And what I like to do, you get a little open, clamp. This is when I was talking about the crates in the last video, getting a little nicked up on the edges. That's what this comes from. It comes from the pliers. From here, I'm going to grab underneath a little bit and pull through. I like to keep a little bit of a dog ear here, right? I didn't pull these through tight enough. I'd like to see a little bit of this wrap still sticking out of the bottom so that when I'm done, I can actually just reach down and take them and pop them off, because this will start to cut circulation off to your feet. So that's one of the things that I like to see with people when they first start out. When you're just starting to learn how to wrap, if it's super tight, it increases the general pressure your body goes through. And if you're already somebody who struggles with getting lightheaded or something like that, you can already see the blood rushing back into my knee, then that increased pressure will actually really, really affect you. So I typically tell people to start off wrapping relatively light. You're going to feel more than you will with your knee sleeves anyway. You're going to get more out of them. And then gradually work into cranking them higher and higher and higher. Not only that, it'll allow yourself to adjust to the load that you're able to use. Because if you crank down super hard and you go to like what used to be 90% of your 1 rep max, you're probably not, it's probably not going to be heavy enough to push you down into the hole. So it's best to kind of adjust lightly first, and then as you get more accomplished to it or more acclimated to it and skilled with it, then you can crank them down harder.